Again, at the Bowling Green game, again, to me, it was a pretty solid win. Wasn't complete or perfect, but it was a sound win. A lot of things didn't go our way, but our guys kept battling and kind of hung in there and persevered, played hard, and made some plays. We got a lot to work on, though. It's evident when you watch tape. Just fundamentally, both sides of the ball and kicking game, there's a lot of work to do. We got 3 games under our belt, and with 2 open dates, there's still 11 weeks of the regular season still left, so we got a lot of work to do on defensively. I think, we did show some improvement, which is good to see. Got a lot of young guys playing, but there's a lot to work on there just with communication, alignment, just executing our schemes, our fundamentals, getting off blocks, tackling. There's a lot of youth over there. We do have some experience, but there's a lot of important positions with those linebackers, safeties, and some of those kids up front that are freshmen. In this day and age, you're going this week. They'll change gears now to a team that completely different with spread and space and quarterback run game and big receivers and good mix of run and pass. So, college football defense is I think very, very difficult because you have to adjust week after week to all the different styles that are still going on in college ball. I do think a good thing for our defense was they had a good response. And I don't think just responding that I think you would say, okay, we didn't play well the week before. I thought during the game the way they responded, because there's some things that didn't go well. We started out with some errors on offense where you don't execute, you can lose momentum. We have 2 kicking blunders with the punt block, then a fumbled kickoff after they had scored where the game could really get out of hand. So again, some things early didn't go well. Set up for those guys really to maybe to not get off to a good start, to play a good game, and to keep those guys out of the end zone, which they did. They were really good in the red zone, 3rd down. I think 2 things that needs to be noted: they were really good after sudden change. It was twice that things didn't go well, and they had to come out and get a stop, and that was a great response for those guys. So not just coming off the week before, but just during the game. Just there's ebb and flow of games. There's good and bad. There's things go for you and against you, but you got to keep playing. And I thought that was a very, very positive sign for those guys. Offensively, we got to continue our score zone. We had a couple issues that are close we didn't like. Got to look at our package and execution and play calling and making plays. So a little disappointed there. We got to keep working for balance consistently. We can get the run game going. We got to keep pushing for that each week. We got a lot to build on. But again, we still have some glaring areas. We had 2 center quarterback issues in a couple games. We're under center. We're not, cost us on the goal line there and hurt us the week before on the 4th and short. So we got a lot of work to do offensively as we keep moving forward. There's some stats that look good for the offense, but there's a lot of work to do. Special teams, we got to really improve there. We had 2 turnovers this year on kickoff return. We had a punt block for a touchdown the other day. We analyzed this defense. This defense has given up on your stat paper that you look at 28.7 points. If you take the pick 6 and the fumbled kickoff return, they scoop and score in a punt block, that's 21 points in 3 games. That's 7 points less against 21 points. So as a team, we're giving up 28 points a game, not as a defense. And those errors in the kicking game are going to haunt us this week, playing a tremendous team in Missouri, and we get in the Big Ten play. Returns have got to get better. We're not getting much out of kickoff return at all. Cover units keep improving. So again, good win. Didn't go well. Offense got hot late. Defense battled early. But in all phases, we got to continue to improve this crowd, and this will be a big week for us. Players of the game. For defense, Nick Mangieri had a sack, 2 batted balls, interception, was very active, playing both inside and outside. He plays a couple spots for us and in our package and what we're doing. He's been a very good player early in his career. Has a lot of work to do, can be very, very good as he moves forward, and appreciate the way he's practiced. Not surprised with this play. We'll need him to play well this week and down the stretch. Offensively, Cody Latimer, over 130 yards, touchdown. Really did a great job blocking in the perimeter. Really helped our run game going. Some of those plays that were big were because of the perimeter blocks, not just the offensive line, but those guys in the perimeter getting us going. And Cody's doing a great job in special team play for us in his coverage units that he does for us. Special team player of the game was Mitch Ewald. Had 4 touchbacks on 6 kick opportunities. He's been perfect on his extra points and whatnot. Doing a great job for us. And then our scout team players of the week, young guys, and guys that are playing those backup roles right now. Paul Phillips and Damon Graham on offense, Justin Noack and Treg Waters on D. So good win for, against Bowling Green. At the same time, we're going to continue to advance here with Missouri coming in, stronger opponent. Thought Bowling Green, very good team last week coming in. We had a good week, played well. We'll get a better skill set this week. Bigger, stronger, faster in all areas, more talented, a very, very successful program. So Missouri shows up 2-0. Last year they're 5-7 in their first year in the SEC, playing probably the toughest schedule, no matter how you want to look at it. Last year I think they lost to 5 teams that finished the year rated 1 through 9. And so played some strong teams. They also had the injury bug last year. Quarterback got nicked up a lot. They had an outstanding running back that was injured, and I think they had some unusual things not go their way. But if you look at them, 7 previous years, all bowl teams, 4 of those years winning 10-plus games. Coach Pinkel's winningest coach in the history of Toledo, and he's close to being the winningest coach in the history of Missouri. It's a proven staff. His staff has been together. Shoot, there are coaches on that staff that when I was an assistant at Miami, we were recruiting against them. They were at Toledo. Same guys. They've been together forever. Know their scheme, know their players, know they want to practice and coach, and they'll respond off of last year not doing as well as they want. They're sitting at 2-0. They're coming off a bye week, and they'll come in ready to roll. Offensively, they're led by James Franklin, 5th-year player at quarterback, and he's a dual threat guy. Most times when you say dual threat, you're saying a guy that can run. Their pass game, and he's a guy who'd rather pass than run, yet I believe he might be their leading rusher. But I think they're a cup of tea. They're averaging 270 some yards in the pass game, 260 some yards in the run game. Very, very balanced. He's the guy that makes it go. He's a 5th-year guy. Know him out of Texas. His father played at Oklahoma. Actually recruited him and one of his teammates when he was coming out of high school. So great player. He's had a great career. He's off to a great start in his senior campaign. Got size, playmakers in the perimeter. Big outside, 6'2", 3', 4', 5', 6". Big kids. Ball's going to get in space. They're fast at back. Several backs playing, including their quarterback's a run-around guy. Defensively, very, very active up front. Will be the best front we've seen in their ability to make plays one-on-one, get pressure on the quarterback without having to blitz. At the same time, again, their defensive staff that we know very, very well has been together a long time. They've got a great way of pressuring you, and how they do that, great way of multiple coverages, making your quarterback work to recognize coverages and reads and distributing the ball and whatnot. So solid defensive group. They got 6 interceptions on the year. They're great on 3rd down. Again, those coaches have been together a long time. They got a lot of confidence on O and D, and it's a good football team. Special team-wise, their kicker, I think he's had 1 kickoff return this year. Everything else has been out of the end zone. Big leg. Punt returns, really good guys, some regular punt, some rugby. They got some good skill guys in the return game, and we've had issues in kicking. So we'll get challenged in all 3 phases. Talented offense, going to make you play in space. Good skill guys, excellent quarterback. Defensively, very active up front. Be a good challenge for our guys. I think our guys will be up for a great week of prep, and it'll be an awesome opportunity to go play Saturday night. So with that, questions?
You talked about your defense bouncing back in the game. Are you starting to see leadership on that defensive side of the ball coming from players more than coaches, or is it still coach-driven at this point?
The players are really getting, like Saban felt that at the end of the last game at Navy. They're like, hey, Coach, we got this stop. There's the way they battled and stuff. So, again, the way we've done some things off the field, and I think it's starting to get on the field. We've got a mix of old guy, young guy, big guy, skill guy, offense, defense. And I just grabbed them this morning here before they went to class saying, hey, here, what issues you guys got this week? What do you want to do here? What's your thoughts as we get going this week? So, in general, I think we're getting better leadership on the field, and the defense is picking up. Still got a long way to go. And we got to learn, like last week, we came off a bad week and had a good week. We can now come off a better week and see if we can have a better week coming off a good week instead of up and down. Because if you're going up and down, you're just staying the same. We got to build this thing by putting together some back-to-back good weeks of prep and keep pressing the season forward.
What is your level of familiarity with Mizzou's coaching staff from your time at Oklahoma and, like you said, from your time in Indiana?
Shoot, it goes back to one guy, one of my best guys just passed away, Mike Dunbar, who was with Coach Pinkel as the coordinator up there, just lost a fight with cancer. Just passed on Friday. We were just talking about him this morning, and he was Coach Pinkel's offensive coordinator. When I was a young coach, Phil Parker, the defensive coordinator at at Iowa now, me and him would ride around spring recruiting and go to schools together. You know, and so I had a lot of respect for those guys. You know, the first year I was at Miami, it was Coach Saban at Toledo, and the next year Coach Pinkel came in, and they were one of the quality teams in the league. We recruited against each other, played against them. Their coaches have changed some, but the core is the same. It starts with Coach Pinkel, who's a class act, great coach, proven winner, very, very consistent what he's done. And I know their program's bouncing back from what was a disappointing year by their standards and what he's created. So, same time each year, you know, things change. They got a new offensive coordinator, Josh Henson, who actually coached at Oklahoma State, is very good friends with Coach Mallory. And so I know Josh from the Oklahoma State days, and his first year calling plays, so maybe it's a little different on maybe certain things he likes. Each year, you're going to have certain things you do. You know, when Alden Smith was playing, it was a different dynamic at DN. They have other good DNs. It's just each year's different. So they always adjust their personnel, but they're well coached, and they'll be well coached, and they'll play well in all three phases. They're not going to lose the game. You have to beat a team like Missouri. They're not going to play sloppy. They're not going to turn it over. They're +4 in turnover ratio. Kicking game's outstanding. You got balance on O, good defense, solid football team. So you got to beat a team like that. You know, they're not going to lose the game. You got to play well to beat teams like this.
Is the defense maybe more well-equipped? I know you talked about having a mix of experienced guys and young guys, and a lot of freshmen have played, but is it maybe more well-equipped than in the last 2 years to improve as the season's gone on, as opposed to maybe having to play a lot of young guys and them just maybe physically wearing down over the course of the season?
You know, and those are things when you talk about, you know, we kind of have looked at some ways in how we practice as far as wearing down. Because if you go through the year, I think, you know, we've been a team that we have felt in developing our team, we've practiced very, very hard, to tell you the truth. And sometimes during the year, there's some wear and tear on your body. So as we're a little bit more physically mature, a little bit more skill mature, without becoming a soft team, we're trying to be smart in our approach to practice. I know in their injury situation last year, I think Coach Pinkel actually went this year and did not have 1-2 a day during the practice format because they're trying to do some things to keep his team fresh. There's lots of ways of skinning the cat, and we're still young enough. Those young guys need work. So Zach, on both sides of the coin, we got to practice them hard. There's a fine line of over-practicing, over-prepping, over-coaching, but we got to keep developing these guys. So I do think there's a lot of growth because, one, I think we got good buy-in. I think they're listening, and they see where they need to improve, and I think they get it. It's not personal when they realize, like, hey, I'm not communicating properly. I'm not getting lined up right. I'm taking a poor angle. I just busted this play. I should have recognized this sooner. Should have made this adjustment. You know, good teams get it adjusted on Saturday. Bad teams come in on Sunday and they run the remote back a bunch of times and get it right. Good teams do it during the game. And so young guys, that's hard. It was hard that first game. So this past game, we made some adjustments a little bit better. The other reason why I think you're making a valid point is there is a lot of youth over there, and you do think they're going to improve just because of playing experience. So the more Allen and Latham and T.J. Simmons and those guys play at Marcus Oliver, the better they'll get because they are young.
The issue that you had in the punting this past week, is that a matter of scheme, execution, a mix of the two? What was it?
What does that mean?
Issues with punting. Was that a matter of scheme, execution, a mixture of the two?
Execution. The first we had, bottom line, just, you know, assignments that were, one, we're trying to do, they came into an attack block look, and we're kind of in our spread trying to down it, and I don't think we prepared our guys as properly, and we didn't execute it right, but it's our fault as coaches. The second one, they just, we had a guy get beat in his protection. And again, it's something that we work on daily, but it needs to be better. And bottom line, those people need to do their jobs, or we got to look at new people or look at new schemes, because again, you can't, because if they get their hand on the second one, it's not a roughing call. It was potentially 2 block punts. So we need to clean that up. Sure.
Should defenses on teams that run no huddle maybe have their performance evaluated differently? I've seen this theory that because the teams that run no huddle, they run a lot of plays, and there's sometimes, you know, they're done playing a lot, that inevitably makes the defense on the field more, and they're facing a lot of plays too. So maybe can skew. You think the defense is ineffective when really maybe playing with the offense that runs so many plays, that it is effective.
Well, again, you could take all the stats and skew them. Like, we didn't have a sack going to last week, but I was concerned our protection broke down a lot the game before. The last game, we had 4 sacks. We got to get our protection better. We'll get a great challenge this week. But I could sit here a week ago and say, hey, we don't have a sack. We got this great protection, when really it wasn't that good. So you can always skew the stats. You know, if physically you're good enough and you can overwhelm and do some things, then you can keep the defense off the field. There was actually a point first year I actually thought maybe we should go to the option like the triple option teams. But would that be best for long-term recruiting and fan base and building our team? But as we build a team, what do we need to do? And we kind of thought about it, went around, we say, hey, maybe we need to be just a little bit more unique on offense and not try to be an offensive stat person, but just we need to be a team that scores points. And we'll play Big Ten teams, and the team this week, if you go down to the 1-yard line and don't score, it's going to haunt you. And you say, well, you scored so many points, you should have won. You got to score one more than they do. So I always said, sometimes someone, I think, got it wrong that day. If we can't score, the defense has got to shut them out. And if they score 50, we got to score 51. That's the object, just whatever it is. And just on our skill set right now, we've kind of went a little bit more into the spread to fit the personnel when we're here. The tempo, I think, just gives us an advantage to get matchups one-on-one, increases our point production. The key thing that I don't like is we got to keep our turnovers down. And we've had some turnovers now, and we've actually had more turnovers with the non-players. Fumble snaps, kick return turnovers, not offensive turnovers. We talk a lot about not turning the football over, because if you play fast and throw it away, if you play fast and go 3 and out, you're in trouble. So I don't know. I mean, bottom line, the one stat is we are 2-1, and that's the stat that matters. We're 2-1. No matter all those numbers you want to skew, and wow, this is good and this is bad. Collectively as a team, OD and kicking, we're 2-1, and that's really, we're trying to put it all together. And that's why I thought the other day when the offense got rolling, it helped the defense.
You talk a lot about offense and defense being complementary. I mean, you don't really sort of isolate on one side of the ball. So we need to keep the things work together, and that's what actually some of the stats mavens are thinking.
Yeah.
You know, the offense and defense have to work together, so don't look at the defensive statistics in isolation.
But we got to find some defensive stops, which the other day we did. Like maybe their stats weren't great, but to get some third down stops, to get some scoring zone stops, to have sudden change stops where we turned it over, but they didn't get significant points out. That's where, you know, they had 400 yards of offense. I do a stat, you know, yards per touchdown. They had over 400 yards and didn't get a touchdown, you know. And we had what do we have? 6 touchdowns and 600 yards. So for every 100 yards, I mean, so the real deal is just, to me, it's scoring points, it's scoring touchdowns, it's conversions. I think the defense can't get off the field if it makes a third down stop. The key thing, if you go fast offensively, is to me, you just don't want to turn it over, and you don't want to go the 3 and outs. Missouri is outstanding in third down defense. I think they're 12 and 30, and their offense is outstanding in third down offense. They are 20 and 31. 3 games under our belt. I think we're 4th in the conference in third down defense. And I think we're 1st in third down offense. We're playing a team that's much like us. They've always been, if you pull up Missouri stats, and I know because I was in that league, and you look at they're probably in the last 10 years over 50% on third down during that run. They've always been a great third down team. So it's getting stops, getting turnovers, or vice versa. You don't turn it over, you don't get stopped. So from there, you know, a lot of people say that the wishbone is a very risky offense because you pitch it so much. Navy didn't have a turnover, so it's executing. And so whether you're going fast or not, spread or not, to me it just comes down to execution. And that was my concern from last game. Both sides of the ball and kicking, we still got to keep executing better. We got a lot to work on.
About the production that you're getting now from the running game in general, in particular the way Stephen has responded to the competition he's getting from him.
Again, he still can play better though, and same with Tevin. I think again those guys are going to get, you know, some nicks. You know, as you go through the years, you need more than one. I think you need to keep them fresh. Part of our tempo, like David's talking about, you know, we're playing fast, so sometimes you need to sub a guy in because those guys are in space. They do a lot of running that you don't see. We do a lot where we try to stretch the field, not just down the field, but we try to stretch it horizontally. So you ought to one day pull up a game tape and see how many times they run a swing route, which is basically a 30-yard sprint. They might get the ball, they might not, but we're trying to stretch them this way and stretch them this way because we're trying to to make holes and seams in the defense. So it's a taxing position. There's a lot of wear and tear, and we need D'Angelo and LeRae to keep coming along because I think you need more than two. Steven's done well. Tevin's done well, but our running game still has to be better. We had 9 negative rushing plays the other day, 9 times, and that's way too many. And that gets you to too many third and longs that we're really very, very fortunate to get last week.
Are you happy with how hard they're hitting the holes, though?
Yeah, I think so. And then we talked a little bit about that in the line. Just quit trying to be perfect, and we missed a boatload of some blocks sometimes, but just run fast and come off the ball and be decisive. Good things happen. Ted Bolzer had 10 knockdowns, led our team, and he was just playing hard. And sometimes it wasn't real clean or perfect or ideal. You can be so robotical as a runner or as a blocker that you miss things. You got to, you go from A to B as fast as you can. Good Lord gave it to you. You make a cut and go. You run off the ball as fast as you can. The key to running the ball is run. You run off the ball and you run. You don't do a lot of dancing. It's one cut. You press it, and we still can get better in there. And again, it's going to be a fight for us every week because if that running game gets going, we're a much better offense. And the same thing this week in defending Missouri. They're really good in the running game, 265 yards a game. And if that thing gets going, they're very difficult to defend because now they can pick and choose and really keep you off balance.
Just, I guess, you guys did a lot of one-on-one on the outside this last game. With Doyle Green Beckham out there, how big of a challenge is he, and how do you kind of approach that?
Well, and again, that's, because again, can you stop the run as fast as you are with just putting the right numbers in the box? Because if you put those edge players, and that's mathematically how most people in college play the game. You mathematically put more people up there than this doesn't mean you got to stand at the line, but you're leveraging corners, backers, and safeties where they have leverage to beat a perimeter blocker, to be an extra hat. And basically, the word's called out-gapping you. They're putting more people in the gaps than you got. That being said, you're one-on-one outside. So if based on situations, if we need to do that, you're going to be out there one-on-one with the receivers. That's every week, every game. Some teams are going to play soft umbrella, then you got to get your run game going. Okay, this week as the run game got going, hey, if they want to load up and they loaded up, they got one-on-one. And we made some one-on-one plays. Now, if they softened up and played their softer coverage, then the running game came back. So, it was a complement of each other. So, for Coach Mallory and his guys, it'll be a challenge because, again, they're a very, very good running team. And the teams that play really good run defense don't always do it just because of a good D-line or line. They do it with structure and where your eyes are and your eye discipline and where your reads are to cheat the scheme and get extra hats in the box to stop the run. And then you got to make the tackles.
Just in terms of, I guess, it's a simplistic question, but how did Nate grade out? I know it was his first career start, but obviously not the first time he's gotten a lot of snaps this year or in his career. Just kind of what kind of game do you think he had after had some time to evaluate him? Yeah,
it was good. I to sit here and say what his stat grade was, Coach Johnson, we gave him, a winning performance. We gave Cody the player of the game for offense, but we gave him a winning grade. And again, he had to make some awkward plays. Protection broke down on him and whatnot, but he communicated well. Again, we had no serious issues with the ball, where he went with the ball. A few things we need to clean up we've talked about, but he had a very solid game. But he had surrounding parts that did too. Line blocked well enough, except for a couple protection issues. The run game was good, so he got some good. But he made some good shots, and he had some players go make some good plays for him.
You talked a lot about what you got from Nick Mangieri lately. Basically, what's impressed you about him from preseason on? Basically, how much does he help you guys?
Stronger, more mature. Full year and a half, 2 in the program now. So he's just physically better. What he's doing. I think he's a very skilled kid, very athletic family, very unique. His brother played at Nebraska. He's got a couple younger brothers that are going to be really good athletes. And it's just great baseball player. I mean, he's getting his hands on those balls because, I think he's just got a nice knack. So he's still young, and we didn't redshirt him. So he's just a true sophomore. He's got a lot of growth potential, but he's stronger, practices hard, got good energy, and he's a long way from being an upper-level DM, but he's off to a good start for us in his career.
When you have decisions like whether to go for it on 4th down or take a knee at the end of the half or do an onside kick, start in the second half, is there more of a plan going into a game of what you want to do, or is that more of a feel thing?
It's to me, it's feel, and we're flipping back and forth between O and D. Hey, we're thinking this. What do you think? Didn't execute the 4th down situation. The first one was probably a little bit too long, but we put our big guys out for what we saw, and we kind of got stuffed on the first one. We ended up being about 4th, almost 2, 1.5. Try to pass on third down was actually there, and we kind of missed a shot, and probably should have managed the first one better. The fumble snap, we got to get that one in. That's a concern. Right before the half, I mean, shoot, we've kind of battered our butts off 21-10. I didn't want to go down. They just, we just kind of held them there. I didn't want them going in with any momentum. So there's 50 seconds, and you can say we're quick strike, but, we had some protection issues. So you don't want to go into half with funky momentum. You can say, like, hey, there's calculated risk. I think there's 1-2 years ago. I don't think it got good coverage, but we're playing a game, and our opponent jumped off sides on a 2-point play. So we put our big guys in with a no play call. And if we saw somebody like we're going to run a play, if not, we're going to take a 5-yard delay of game penalty. And at the time, I said, boy, that's being greedy. I says, nah, it was going to be wide open, or we're going to back it up and kick the extra point from the 6.5. It was a 3-yard risk of kicking. And we walked in on a 2-point play. At the time, everybody's like, because first of all, the people covering the game weren't even talking about the penalty on the defensive guys. So there's some things going on. The way Bowling Green lined up, we had 3 guys outside the end man on the front line. We just missed the kick. And didn't really miss the kick. We needed to go catch the ball. Our receiver kind of waited for it to come. We told the guys at halftime, hey, it's there. We're going to go do it. And if it don't work, don't worry about it, because you got to have enough courage to do what you think's right. And if it fails, we're going to stop them, and we're going to go score. So, you sit there, we're talking about O&D. Hey, Doug, 4th down, what do you think? You want to punt it or go for it? Hey, if you can get it, go for it. We're always going back and forth because we're collectively as a team. It's quick decisions. We're not sitting there with the deal. We've got our 3rd and long calls and red zone calls and all that deal, but you're kind of picking. We've got our 4th down calls. Here's what we want to do. And unfortunately, we haven't executed 2 4th and shorts in our first 2 games, which we need to work on. But the real deal is it's not a gamble as much as this is what you think is going to work, and your players need to go execute it. And you know what? Sometimes they don't, and it's nothing against them when they don't. You're sitting there looking at, here's where it is, here's what you do, you go do it. And sometimes you pull it off. It's not being foolish. But I think we're a team. For us to do well, we got to be smart as we are aggressive. We can't sit and wait and hope. It's a Tiger Woods deal. He's not hoping the guy misses the putt. He walks up. He's going to make it. I'm going to make it. Hey, that onside kick's here. We're going to go for it. We're going to make it. Sometimes there's a lip out, but there's as many lip ins as lip outs. There's as many good bounces as bad bounces. So we're trying to get this team to get into we're not going to be stupid. We're going to be aggressive in what we're doing, but there's also calculation. And we're talking about no huddle tempo. With David there, we're trying to work offense, defensive collectively to put it together.
Can you give us a quick physical update? Eckert, Taylor, Todd, some of these guys.
Peyton's practiced. It's a little bit, he's coming off the back deals, wear and tear, and Ralston's played well enough. We are basically playing without 3 starting linemen with Feeney and Eckert and Bernard. At the same time, Jake Reed's played very, very well. I actually think he's a very comparable player to the guy that was playing, if not better. So there's good competition. It's great to get Ralston going in the mix. David Kaminsky's came in and played solid. So we did it. We do have enough depth there. We've overcome it in a fair way, but that line needs to get better. So Bernard is still kind of gimping around. Alex Todd practiced last night, so we'll see if we get him. But he's missed enough time. How much does he go? Sometimes you got to work back in because, like Peyton, he's missed about 3.5 weeks now. So sometimes that's almost a whole preseason. So it's not just getting them healthy, it's getting them back up to speed. So that'll be a challenge. But other than that, I think we're pretty healthy. You guys good? Appreciate you being here.